Okay, there we go. Hi, my name is Wanda Miller. I'm the Assistant Director at the John Germain Memorial Library in Sag Harbor. I've been conducting a series of local spotlight interviews to capture the experiences of our local residents during the COVID-19 pandemic. These interviews are being recorded as historical documents to be used in the library archive. They may also be posted to the social media, and we're hoping that they will help create community connections too, so that everybody feels like they're all in this whole situation together and nobody's alone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really excited to have Jesse with us. He's from Sen and K Pasa. And thank you very much for being here. I'm gonna start out with something a little redundant. What is your name?
Well, hello. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Ryunosuke Jesse Matsuoka. I'm one of the owners of Sen Restaurant here in Sag Harbor, Cape Pasa, and I'm also helping out with many other projects, including that of the Sag Harbor Cinema, and also one of our newer projects, Mana, which is going to be taking over, or has taken over, the Lobster Inn space in Southampton. Lobster, yeah. Yeah, so hello everyone, and thank you so much for having me.
That sounds exciting to be starting a new restaurant too, in the middle of everything.
Exciting is one way of putting it, yeah, yeah.
If you're willing, what year were you born?
Yeah, I was born in 1985. So yes, I'm what year is that actually? I think that's the year of the ox. I can't remember what year that is, but I think it's the ox. But yeah, 1985.
How long have you been in Sag Harbor?
So I've been full-time since I was 17, but I've been coming out here since I was 12 to start working at Sen. I guess I wasn't supposed to be working at 12, but you know how family businesses go. And I was going to school in Hawaii, and summer vacations I would leave Hawaii to come out here and work with my father, who had started Sen with his business partner, Jeff Resnick, back in '94. And I had taken the summers to help dishwash, roll California rolls and spicy tuna rolls at 12 years old, and summered here from 12 to 17, where then I had moved out here full time after high school. So yeah, and here's.
Thank you. And can you describe the work that you do?
So I am, as an owner, I'm more of an operator that operates the establishments, the restaurants that are here in Sag Harbor. Of Sen, I've worked my way up from dishwasher to line cook to sushi chef to executive chef, and then I moved into what they call the front of house roles, as doing the busboy to the server to host to manager to general manager. And now I've hired those positions in Overwatch from a operating point of view. For Cape Pasa, I'm one of the owners, along with 5 other amazing restaurateur gentlemen. And I'm more on the service director side to help train, help keep things going on that side. Lately is a different story due to COVID, where I've had to put in a lot more man hours. I was, last couple of days, I was the painter who's been painting the outdoor deck situation for outdoor seating that was approved by the village. So I'm everything. I'm the plumber, I'm the electrician, the painter, the plumber, again, because bathrooms keep on breaking. Whatever is needed, I'm that person. Which comes in handy. I'm for the cinema. I'm helping the cinema out with their food and beverage program, where they have a cafe in the front lobby. They have a concession stand. right before the screen rooms and also event spaces on the third floor. So that's more of a consulting part of it, and I've been helping them out since they took over the space. It's an amazing project, and again, I'm just really proud to be a part of that team and that project, being that they're a non-for-profit cinema education center. I think education is a key ingredient to the growth of our community and as a whole. And then over at Mana, I'm the one of the business partners over there and operating director of the restaurant. And due to COVID, we had a full stop of construction about a month and a half before we were going to be ready. So all of that has come to a full stop, and we haven't been able to restart the engine as of yet. So we're just kind of waiting around at the moment, partially due to financing that stopped due to COVID and just construction. So it's been very difficult, but at the same time, it's been a learning experience. It's been a growing experience, and we're trying to make the best of the situation.
Thank you for sharing all of that. How has COVID-19 changed the job and business and what you do?
It's changed everything from A to Z. And I think one of the key ingredients that Sag Harbor has as a village, as operators, as business owners out here, we're really, all of us are really good at seasonality because of how slow it gets in the wintertime to the influx of the summer clientele. We need to know how to deal with when things drop off and when things get busy. So COVID was a key ingredient of how things can truly drop off and how to deal with that. So I'm thankful that we're in a place like this, that those are one of the skills that we were able to use for COVID. When things shut down, we were able to control the losses and shut down properly so that when things reopened, we kept people in tune, kept people informed so that we could try and build everyone back up. So as a business, it has been extremely difficult just due to the restrictions of what this brought on, such as, let's just say hiring. We went from, I'm going to say about 18 people operating in late February, operating Sen Restaurant, let's just say, right? Sen Restaurant. And when COVID hit, we went down to about 6 people. So we went down to about a third of those people trying to see what would happen. And we just did takeout. And as soon as we got momentum, we needed to hire back up. But how do we hire up in this kind of environment? And we started to quarantine people one by one. And thankfully, we had different apartments available. We have staff housing within the building. And we utilized one of the apartments to house people and waited, because this is before we could get people tested. We had to wait out 14 days before if they showed symptoms or not. And if they didn't show symptoms after 14 days, then they could come onto the team. So I was 2 weeks for each person I could hire back. And I had to repeat this process every 2 weeks. And it got down once we were allowed to start testing what they considered non-essential people, but we were considered an essential business, but our employees were not considered essential workers. So I couldn't get them tested. Not until later on, I think it was mid-April or late April, that we could start to test our employees. And as soon as we tested or could start testing our employees, that was brought down from 14 days to about 3 days, where we can find out if they had a negative result, and then they could start work. The problem is that it is also costly. So the free testing, we could send them out. They could get tested in Riverhead or somewhere like that, but we wouldn't get results for sometimes weeks. So it's like, what's the point? Like, might as well wait out the quarantine and hopefully they don't show symptoms. But at the same time, they could be asymptomatic, and then they'll never show symptoms, and they could get people sick. So it was a hair-wrenching situation. But we could pay extra and get results faster. So, I mean, we were paying upwards about $300 a person to get them tested, to get the results faster. And I mean, now we're back up to over 20 employees. We're up to 27 employees, which is great. But it's still not enough because I'm spreading people out through the restaurant. In order to serve the takeout requests that are coming in, we are spread out our chefs. What I would usually kind of cram our chefs into a small sushi bar, we're not cramming them. Therefore, I've converted our bartending bar into a sushi bar, and I put 2 sushi chefs in the bar, and then where the customers would sit, I've converted that area to put 2 more sushi chefs. And then I've spread out everyone through the dining room area where guests would sit, in order to safely work around each other, putting takeout bags, putting the containers out to check everything. I have a little corner for our call-in center, where our staff are taking in the takeout orders through the phone and plugging them into the computer. But it's literally turned my business upside down, and it's a different business. I mean, it's nothing that I've ever experienced before, but we've learned from it, and we have post-shift meetings to learn from every day to ensure that the next day is more efficient and safer and faster, so that we can take on more the next day.
It sounds like you're doing a lot to make sure that everybody is safe.
Yes, safety is number one. Absolutely.
Have you ever experienced anything like this before?
The only thing that came very close to how our off-season boost of business was 9/11. That was the only time where we saw what was supposed to be a slower time of year get busy out here in the Hamptons. So 9/11 was definitely one of those times where we start to see an influx of people move out from the city, out to the Hamptons. But that's what we've seen now, is that back in March, late March, we started to see our summer clientele that were only coming out in late May to early June. They came out in March, and they've stayed since. They're not looking to move back to the city anytime soon. So the short answer is no, I've never seen anything like this where I've had to reconvert my business model. In terms of clientele, a boost in clientele coming out to the Hamptons, that was the only time that I've seen that before.
Thank you. How has it changed you personally?
Personally, I always say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So I'm much stronger because it definitely almost killed me. It is a crazy test of your will, and it's a stress on your physically, mentally, and on top of things, I found out in February that I'm becoming a father.
So exciting.
On top of everything, my business, depends a lot on me, and now my family depends a lot on me, and I'm hoping to bring my son into a world that is a little bit more controllable and more structured than it is at the moment. And it's, you know, I have a duty to my employees, to my partners, to ensure that the business keeps going. And I have a duty to my fiance and now my son to ensure that I leave them with something strong. So personally, it has built me up internally to be stronger, because it's either that or give up, and there's no giving up, right? We have to keep on going, and might as well put a smile on it while we're doing it. Might as well make the best of it while we're doing it. So we try our best to learn from these events. And in the Japanese culture, we have kaizen. And kaizen is the mentality of constant improvement, no matter what is happening, right? Not the squeaky wheel gets replaced. It's make all wheels better every day. That's our mentality here, and I try and do that for me personally. I try and make my fiance happier every day, hopefully, and then make my business more efficient every day. And now I have multiple babies, right? I have Kepasa, I have Sen, I'm trying my best to give what I can for the cinema, and now we have Mana, the fish farm. Well, the restaurant, which is also a fish farm, which is a whole nother story in itself. But yeah, that's how it's changed me personally.
A lot of excitement.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
What routines are different for you? And I know you touched on it a little bit, but there might be others.
Routines. I mean, all routines have changed. At the moment, our operating hours have changed, whereas I'm trying to figure out when people are dining out. And with the new approval from the mayor to utilize our parking lots as dining seating, I'm spending more time figuring out how to build that up and how to run it. In a usual restaurant situation, we get to control how many people come in at once because you have a wait list or you have reservations. So it forces people to kind of dine at a different time, because they know if they come to Sen, let's just say utilizing Sen, if they came at 7 o'clock, there's a 2-hour wait. And if they came at 5 o'clock, there's no wait. So then people usually come at 5 o'clock. The problem is that everyone wants to eat at 6:45 or at 7 o'clock. So they call, hundreds of people are calling at 7 o'clock. And we had to increase our phone line. So we now have 2 phone lines receiving calls for orders. But even then, they're inundated from 6 p.m. to 7:30 of people trying to call in, because everyone feels like that's the time they want to eat and that's the time they're going to call in. So it's been it's been hard to create routine for our customers when this is an unprecedented time of people just feeling like they can get something when they just call it in. So we've had to increase our staff. We've had to increase our productivity with taking on customers. But what I'm seeing at all these businesses is that they all come at once. It's kind of mob mentality of, oh, we all got to eat at once. So I would have to say I'm trying my best to train the market to change its routine. I want them to change its routine. Like, you don't have to all eat at 7 o'clock. There's many other times to eat. So I'm hoping with this outdoor dining that I can change those routines for those, and it will change for me. I have to mold myself around my customers. So yeah.
I hope it goes well.
Thank you.
Yeah. What do you think things will look like for yourself or the business in the future?
The future is very scary, actually. it's a huge unknown. It's, you know, Pandora's box at this point. And I know that my business model is structured around safety and efficiency, but controlling our customer base and controlling the people that are coming to our village, and we are thankful for them wanting to spend money here. At times, they are not taking things as seriously as they could be, and thus I'm mostly afraid of Cuomo closing us down again. Um, it's happened in other areas where there's a second wave of COVID and they've had to re-shut down businesses. And I know I can survive. I will do my best, and I will have to, unfortunately, lay off more people that I just rehired, but we'll get through it. I have friends that won't get through it. And the future to me is, you know, how do I help those to be able to be ready for whatever is to come? Because all of my businesses are trying to get ready for plan A through B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way through Z, because that's what potentials there are. Nobody has the actual crystal ball. People may think they do, but it's really dependent on how well we all work together in this situation and ensure the safety of everyone. It's not just the safety of my staff and my business, and not just those of my customers, but my neighbors' customers, my actual neighbors from Mount Misery. You know, we all need to be careful so that we can survive this and get past this situation, because as a business, I'm doing my best to strategize any situation, whether we have an uptick of growth or we have a total drop off of having to shut down again. So I'm being as prepared as possible, but I'm just really hoping that everyone else does have a plan as well for if and when things happen.
Yeah, we've been looking at it pretty deeply at the library too, as far as safety and everything related to it.
Yeah.
Are there things that you think would help with the recovery?
Yeah, I mean, if people follow, you know, Cuomo's guidelines and the state's guidelines to be able to ensure the safety of you and others, it's possible. You know, we're all going to be able to get through this. But if we keep on thinking that just because it's summer and it's nice out, that you don't need to follow the simple guidelines of wearing a mask, more people are going to get sick, and the loved ones, friends, acquaintances, business partners, business associates, someone's going to get sick and die. And nothing is worth the death of someone. Nothing. So, you know, I want to say that if somebody can do something, it's to know as many facts as possible, to learn how safety, what safety precautions you can do as a business owner, as a consumer. You know, as a consumer, ask your businesses to be safer. As a business person, ask your consumers to please be safer. You know, we have to ask each other in a nice way to be cautionary. You know, we are doing our best to. I'm spending so much money on simple things like hand sanitizer and masks and Lysol sprays and all these different things. And I mean, it's necessary right now until we find somewhat of a vaccine. And we have to do what we have to do, but we have to band together with distance. um,
Mm.
and ensure the safety of everyone, because I don't want anyone, whether they are my competition or my best friend, to be hurt through this situation. Um, so I think, if anything, it's learn from every day, and take every precaution that is available at hand.
Thank you. Is there anything else about this experience that you would like to share?
Um, it's not all doom and gloom, right? There are amazing opportunities that will come from this. I've been able to um, meet with great people, hear from great minds. Um, there's so many people that are working just so they're putting all their heart into helping others in these times. Um, I actually see Barbara Roberts over there. She is one of my inspirations as well. I mean, she is an amazing woman, doing amazing things for so many businesses, and just people are giving their time to be able to teach those about what to do in these situations. And there's so many avenues of learning right now, especially through Zoom, right? Uh, I know Nada's become a Zoom master. I've heard, um, and it's amazing to see what growth we've come from this. So I think that's where that silver lining is that we've come together virtually, and I think we've learned so much more than we would have, because I would have been just busy operating. I wouldn't have taken the time. I mean, I've listened to, I don't know how many days worth of information that I wouldn't have listened to if this was just normal times. So I'm thankful for the opportunity to learn so much, to learn from those and be inspired from many. And I hope to give that back in any way that I can, even through this or through other avenues. Um, I think it's sharing the wealth and sharing the wealth of knowledge that is out there. And as a library, I think that's what you guys are, right? You are sharing the wealth of knowledge through books and through things like this, and I'm just honored to be a part of it.
Thank you. Yeah, we're trying. We have a fact page up on our website too that has a lot of resources for COVID-19, and hopefully we'll have some recovery resources up there as well. Yeah. And I guess that kind of links to my next question, if there's any support that the library can provide.
Yeah, I mean, it's doing things like this. This is fantastic. I hope to be able to get this information out there and hear from others that are coming on to speak on behalf of how they're doing and what they're doing. One of the resources that I never would have even thought of, which has been a great source for me as a restaurateur, but there's other avenues that they speak to, which is the James Beard House. They are sending out daily Zoom meetings, inspirational talks, COVID business relation discussions. And I think they've been a great source, and being able to do something with them, or being able to kind of see what they're doing so that we can almost incorporate that to something that we can do out here. I think that would be great. There's almost too much out there at the moment. So many people are trying to help, which is great. It's wonderful, but there's not enough hours in the day to listen to all of them and to take it all in. I'm sidetracked at times trying to listen to this Zoom meeting while holding that Zoom meeting, trying to eat something so that I can actually think straight and train my sushi chef something. And yeah, I forgot. I'm also doing. I'm one of the founders for the American Sake Association. So I started a nonprofit sake education company, and every week we talk about American sake industry. I mean, we interview people this every Sunday. So this past Sunday, we just interviewed a sake brewery out in Colorado. And there's just so much information out there, and people want to learn about it, and people want to hear about things. It's really beautiful to know that everyone really wants this stuff and sucks it all up. So Sag Harbor has such a wealth of knowledge here. There's so much information. There's so much beautiful history. People want to hear about it. People want to know about it. I was honored at one point to bump into somebody at my restaurant back in the day that, you know, worked at the Bovell building. And I just wanted to just hear his story. And I mean, he talked for hours and I just couldn't stop listening. It was an amazing story. And I know there's going to be hundreds of people out there that would love to hear his story. So it's just like, you know, being able to connect these people, this is a great platform. And I'm thankful that you're doing this. And I know there's many more stories out there that people want to hear.
Thank you. We have a great archivist right now who's doing an archive for the whole local history during the pandemic too. She's been amazing for us.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Right.
Have there been any silver linings for you or anything that's inspired you during these times?
There's many silver linings, and I try and search for them so that I can make the best of these at times horrible situation. But you know, it's about seeing the best in myself, in my team, in my businesses, in my friends, in my family. The silver lining is I've been able to see and inspire the best out of many people, that I push myself, because there's always hard times, but this is especially hard. And I'm just really happy to be with the people I work with, the people I'm partnered with during these hard times, because at times, yes, it can bring the worst out of some, but I think it's brought the best out of the people that I'm with. So the silver lining there is that, you know, I'm a happier person being in these rough times together with some really strong people, with some really inspirational people. So yeah, that's my silver lining that I've seen.
Oh, that sounds great. It's nice to have a good support network. Yeah.
Right.
I think that's it for my questions. I don't know if anyone else here has any questions for you.
Yeah.
Nada?
Nada raised her hand.
I'd just like to say that, Jesse, per usual, you are so articulate, but I was fascinated in relation to the restaurant business and us, the Wharf Shop in retail, so many similarities, and the fact that you've picked up, and I have also picked up, this learning process that has to be fine-tuned daily, per se, that we are constantly having to make adjustments, surveying what's functioning, what's going right, and what's going wrong. And this may be a silver lining, and for the village itself also, who are testing a lot of things. Yeah. Anyhow, bravo with it. This, I can just say, Wanda, having done this as the second person a few months ago, it's interesting where the development has come of the spotlight in certain different aspects, and where some of the similarities, of course, still exist. It's just fascinating to watch that, and will be continuing on. So I hope the spotlight goes through quite a long period
Thank you.
with these interviews.
I'll keep trying.
For doing it.
I do want to speak to that. You know, I didn't mention enough, I think, the silver lining of what this village has done and has come. I know I've spent many of days in the trustee meetings, sitting next to or behind Nada, listening to what seemed to be the never-ending story of no. No, you can't do that. No, we're not considering that. No, and laughing like, oh, you think you can do that. Now it's yes, let's try that. Or just, which is fine, let's consider it. That's been the most inspirational thing that this village has turned around, to consider things out of the box. And I think, you know, we have a great mayor that is willing to hear us out and willing to at least try certain things that seem doable. You know, one of the silver linings here is that for years, I've wanted to convert my parking lot into something. And that's always been a no. That's been an absolute never in your life will that ever happen. And guess what? Thanks to COVID, we got approval to convert our parking lot into a dining lot. So we'll see. You know, I think that even though these are hard times to deal with, the village of Sag Harbor, from everyone from the mayor down to the trustees to the different boards, they've all really been helpful. You know, sometimes it's hard, and rules are rules, but they've been open to suggestion and they've been open to helping out. And I'm so happy to be living in these times, to see what we can do with this. You know, I'm not looking to change Sag Harbor totally. I'm just looking to see if there's any updates that we can do. And I think this is a great time for that to happen. If not now, you know, when? So.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing everything with us today. I really appreciate it. I don't know if that was the end of questions from the audience. I think it might be.
All right. Great.
So,
Well,
that's it.
yeah. Well, I had fun.
I'm glad. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. And I look forward to seeing the spotlight on others and listening in on other conversations as well.
Great.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. You all have a great day.
Goodbye,
Yeah.
everybody. Take
All
care.
right. Yep. I'll see you later.